Everyone, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered why experienced ethical hackers and cybersecurity professionals spend time learning computer hardware before diving into hacking tools? Most beginners start with Kali Linux, Metasploit, and Wireshark, but they often skip the most important foundation, understanding how a computer actually works. In this video, we will explore why computer hardware is essential for cybersecurity, how it helps ethical hackers like attackers, and why mastering hardware gives you significant advantage in cybersecurity career. Let's begin our mission. Let's begin our mission. Right? Okay. We will first understand what's computer hardware, then discuss why it is important in cybersecurity, and we will look at the CPU, RAM, motherboard, BIOS, means basic input and output system, storage devices, networking hardwares, and real world hardware attacks, digital forensics, and finally how learning hardware can boost cybersecurity career. Let's start with the basics. Okay, think like a hacker. Okay, hackers doesn't just attack software, they exploit the entire computer. Want to become ethical hacker or planning a computer cybersecurity career, learning penetrating testing, your journey start with computer hardware. Okay, let's start. What is computer hardware? Right? What is computer hardware? Computer hardware refers to a physical components that makes a computer. This includes CPU, RAM, motherboard, storage devices such as SSD and hard drives, graphic cards, power supplies, and network cards. Think of hardware as the body of the computer, while software is the brain instructions. Without hardware, software cannot run. Before learning cybersecurity, it's important to know what each hardware component does, because every cyber attack, even actually target on, affected the hardware in some way. Okay, next topic. Okay, why hackers learn hardware? Why hackers learn hardware? Okay, professional hackers do not learn programming. They study how computer actually work. They understand how memory stores information, how processor execute instructions, how operating system communicate with hardware, and how devices boot power down. This knowledge allows them discover vulnerabilities that ordinary users never notice. If only understand software, you are seeing only half of the cybersecurity picture. Okay. Wait a second. Okay. Roles and responsibilities అని చెప్దాం తర్వాత. CPU. Okay. Next slip. Wait. CPU. Okay. Motherboard are the backbone of the computer. Wait. Motherboard. The motherboard is the central communication hub of the computer. It connects the processor, memory storage, graphic cards, and every other component. If an attacker compromises the motherboard firmware, then they can potentially control the entire system. This is why motherboard security has become increasingly important the enterprise environment, and understanding motherboard architecture is also helps during hardware troubleshooting and forensic investigations. And And what is bias? Bias అంటే what is bias? Okay, wait. Bias. When you press the power button, you start your computer. The operating system does not start immediately. First, the bias, the newer UEFI firmware, initializes the hardware and checks whether everything is functioning correctly. Only after this process does Windows or Kali Linux or Linux being loaded. Attackers have deployed BIOS and UEFI malware that hides inside firmware. These attacks are extremely dangerous because reinstalling Windows often does not remove them. That's why firmware security is one of the most advanced areas in modern cybersecurity. More Okay, next, hardware versus HDD versus SSD. Okay, HDD means solid state drive. Okay, SSD means solid state drive, and HDD means hard disk drive. Okay, hard drives and SSD are permanently store your computer, operating systems, applications and personal files and digital evidence. Cybersecurity professionals often recover deleted files, analyze malware, and create forensic disk images from storage devices. Even when files appear deleted, traces remains on the storage devices. This is why storage is one of the most important component in digital forensic. Okay, our next topic. Networking hardware. Cybersecurity isn't limited individual computers. It is also involved protecting networks. Devices like routers, switches, firewalls, wireless access point, and servers are essential parts of any organization infrastructure. Understanding how these devices communicate allows ethical hackers to identify vulnerabilities and security professionals to defend against attacks. Without networking knowledge, cybersecurity becomes much more difficult. Okay, much more difficult. And real hardware attacks. Okay, many people thinks hackers only attacks only software, but hardware attacks are very real. Example, hardwares like keyloggers that capture keystrokes, malicious USB devices like USB rubber ducky, firmware, malware, and infect storage devices and BIOS rootkits that survive system operating reinstallation. These attacks are harder and to detect traditional malware because they operate below the operating system. Okay, this is why hardware security is becoming increasingly important. And hardware hacking tools. Okay, ethical hackers are usually use specialized hardware tools during pen testing. Some people's example Raspberry Pi devices, Wi-Fi adapters, cables of monitor mode, USB rubber ducky devices, and LAN total Proxmark and Proxmark for RFID testing and network taps. These tools help professional real world security while following ethical and legal guidelines. Okay, understanding the hardware behind these tools make them much more effective. Okay, digital forensic. Our next topic is digital forensic. Digital forensics involve collecting and analyzing digital evidence after cyber incidents. Investigator recovers deleted files and create exact copies of hard drives, analyze memory dumps, examine boot records, and preserve evidence without modifying. modifying it. Hardware knowledge is essential because improper handling of storage devices can permanently destroy critical evidences. Okay. Build your cybersecurity lab. Okay. Beyond cybersecurity lab. Okay. An old laptop, one of the best ways to learn cybersecurity is building your own practice lab. You don't need expensive equipment. An old laptop or desktop, virtual box, Kali Linux, Windows, and basic home routers are enough to begin. Practice legally in your own lab. Experiment with operating systems, networking, and security tools. Hands-on practice is real learning happen. And career benefits. Okay, career benefits. Hardware knowledge opens the door many cybersecurity careers. You can become ethical hacker, penetration tester, SOC analyst. Okay, SOC analyst, security engineer, malware analyst, incident responder, digital forensic expert, and employers value professionals who understand both hardware and software because they can solve problems more effectively. Learn hardware gives you a strong competitive advantage. Learning hardware gives you a strong competitive advantage. And interview questions. If you are preparing for cybersecurity interviews, here are some common questions. What is BIOS? What is UEFI? And what is the difference between HDD and the SSD, hard disk drive and solid state drive? Why RAM is important? And what is firmware? These are like questions. Okay. There will try to answering these questions yourself after watching this video. There will help strengthening your understanding. And let's quickly recap what we have learned today. Computer hardware is foundation for every cybersecurity system. Understanding components like CPU, RAM, motherboard, BIOS, storage and networking devices helps you think like both an attacker and defender. Cybersecurity isn't just about using hacking tools. It's about understanding how computers works from the ground up. If you are serious about building a career in ethical hacking and cybersecurity, start mastering computer hardware. Thank you so much, and thank you so much and watching for this video. If you found it's helpful, please like, share and subscribe. Don't forget turn on notifications so you never miss your upcoming cybersecurity tutorials. Until next time, stay curious, stay ethical and keep learning. Thanks for watching.